Okay, how's it going, guys? Back here again in the chess room, and today taking on Hwank is Forever. Not sure the name, but with a name like that, surely he's a good player. It's going to have to be. So going straight into the game, kicking off, he moves down with his pawn to e4. I respond with my pawn to e6. He brings out his other pawn to f4. So I respond and go straight to attack his pawn. He doesn't bite, so he moves his pawn again down to e5. So at this point, I was thinking about threatening his king. Not that he would have done much good. So I bring the bishop out to c5. He blocks that with his pawn. I then look to attack his king, and then he blocks it with the other pawn. So let's retreat and get the bishop back in. But at least I've pulled those pawns out. He's looks very attacking at the minute, but looks like it's going to be one of them swashbuckling games. So I'll bring my pawn out to c5, and he responds by backing his pawn upon d5 with his bishop on e6, and then brings his knight out. My queen comes out. He hasn't bit. He hasn't tried to take my pawn on c5, so I bring the queen out, hoping to open up some sort of gap. Okay, he's gone for it now. So let's look possibly to take that with the bishop, which then fronts up with. Oh, okay. That wasn't a very clever move by myself. That was not a clever move, and I should have seen that anyway. Should have seen that. Totally fell for that. So now I've had to take his pawn, which now is going to leave me a piece down. So I'm a piece down now. So there goes my bishop. Take that pawn, put his king in check, but obviously he's got an extra piece to me. He's easily able to block that. My pieces are still sitting okay, but can't believe I've just made a pathetic move like that. That was kind of ridiculous. I'd have been happy to have taken his bishop if it was an advantage, but played right into his hands there. Still trying to put a little bit of pressure on his defence, trying to pressure his king, but no, it's not happening. He's now threatened me with his bishop on d5, so I'm going to have to get the queen out of there. I'm going to have to get the queen out of there. Not d5, sorry, d4. I'm not even reading the board right. So get the queen out to a5. Okay, so his rook comes across to threaten my bishop on c8. So move that bishop out of the way. So that rook comes in. I can eliminate it. But that really wasn't. I'm reading after that move. That was just a thick move. That was. Because I could not take the bishop, because then I'd have lost the queen. So I'm now a piece down, so I'm up against it, and he obviously looks like a decent enough player. So from here I'm really going to have to completely rethink my strategy about what I'm going to do to hold him off. A piece down. Okay, his rook comes down to c2, obviously looking to as soon as possible put my king in check, so I'm having to block that. Threatens my queen with his bishop on c3, so I can't see any other option but to get her away out of sight. And I can see what I've done here now. So my queen's moved down to c7 behind the knight, but probably more than likely he'll threaten that knight with his knight. No, right, okay, he's moved the bishop in to b5, threaten the knight, and okay, so I back that knight up with my other knight to e7. Yeah, and he's done exactly what I thought the other knight would move in to d4, double up on my knight. So let's threaten the bishop. Bishop's had to run, and looking to castling now. I get my king away from the danger zone, although there's danger lining up from all sorts of angles here at the minute. But let's get the king out of danger for the minute. So castle, and let's see what he looks to come with next. So at the minute, right, okay, so he moves his pawn down to g4, so they're now looking to attack the side where the king is. So I'm going to have to start my defense from there, so move the knight to g6. So if he moves the pawn, okay, so he can attack. Really looking at that, I should be able to actually, what sort of move have I made there? I should really have got rid of, I should have taken that pawn on, I should have taken his pawn on e5, but I've gone to threaten his the bishop, his bishop on e2, and really probably I should have considered taking his pawn on e5. I probably should have considered that, because then if he'd have took my knight on c6 with his knight sitting on d4, my bishop sitting on d7 would have responded to that, and then I could have covered my knight that would have sat on e5. Okay, so his king's moved the bishops, his bishop's come down to f3 to threaten my pawn. It really is looking to move in. I'm really having to do a defensive job here. Okay, moved my knight up to threaten his queen. Hopefully if he bites, then I can take his knight and then threaten his bishop sitting on f3. But something tells me he ain't gonna go for that. Okay, so the queen's moved. So queen's got out of the way, so he hasn't bit. So what do I want to do from here? You're just lining things up. Yeah, I could take that pawn because it's backed up by my knight, but I won't do that. Instead I'll look to threaten that knight sitting on d4, and as expected he goes and takes my knight, so I'm going to have to kill that with either pawn or bishop, but let's do it with the pawn. So I can look to somehow try to start advancing my pawns, and where my queen's sitting now, that helps to back up the knight sitting on b2. No doubt all he'll have to do is move his knight, and his rook's doubled up from his queen. So he pushes his pawn to f6. I move my pawn up to g6. Sends him his other pawn down to h4. So really looking now to attack this king side. Really looking to attack my king side. just have to keep going back to that stupid move that I made earlier on. What a stupid move with the bishop. Pathetic move. Just like, I want to be doing more attacking, but I'm having to do a lot of defending at the minute. We attack his queen, so she takes my queen. And once again, let's push this bishop, this pawn on. So at the minute, got not too bad a looking pawn defence. I'm thinking about looking at getting this rook out, which I have done. The thinking is that somewhere along the line I can get the rocks to work in tandem on a vertical instead of a horizontal. Right, so the bishop's moved, and there we have it. So I move my rook to a8. So what is he looking to do now? That knight, right, okay. So that knight's coming into dance now. The places of where that knight can move now, the knights are really, sometimes really difficult to stop because they can just attack you from round corners. Knights do my head in when you're playing against them. They're brilliant when you got the knight working for you, it's to your advantage, but nightmare when you're playing against it. So I'm moving the bishop out of the way because obviously it's going to attack the bishop. So moving bishop down to e8, and these pieces are just poised at the minute. As it stands right now, I am fighting a little bit of a losing battle, although I'm trying to keep a positive mental attitude at the minute. Right, okay. So he moves his knight to c1 to back up his rook, and that pawn sitting on a2. So I move my rook up to a4 just to see what I can do. Sometimes it's like sort of being poker face. You know that you're not in the greatest position, but you try to let them think that you're going to do some serious damage. So it makes them sometimes worry about more what you're doing as opposed to concentrating on what they're doing. So I'm just trying to see if I can maximise that. So put his king in check. King moves, and I can't go for that pawn now because he's backed up by that bishop. Thinking about moving that rook, but I don't know why, because I can't. So push the pawn up to h6, which it takes. I'm not sure whether that was a good move now. Looking back now, right, taking that pawn on h4. Right, so I lose that pawn now on g6. Take it back with my pawn from f7 to f6. So his pawn now sitting on f6 has got a bit of an open lane, only being stopped by my bishop on e8. So he moves his rook down to threaten my rook. So I'll get my rook out of the way to a4 and look to see if I can threaten. He's quite well defended, isn't he? He's still really well defended here. So I can't go for his bishop because that's backed up by the knight. I can't go for his rook because that's backed up by the knight. I can't go for the pawn, that's backed up by the knight, and I can't put the king in check because that's backed up by the bishop. So his king comes down to g3. Obviously he can't do anything to my rook unless I have to move the other rook. So what do I look to do here? do I look to do here? Okay, I've moved my pawn to c5. Again, not the best. Why have I done that? Why have I just done that? Why have I done that? Oh yes, okay, because what I'm trying to do is draw the bishop out. So if he takes that bishop, I can then, if he takes that pawn, I can then take his bishop with my bishop, but then I'll lose the bishop because of the rook, but he's not gone for it anyway. So he's moved his rook across to f3, looking now to, and then put his king in check, so his king's had to run. Gone behind the rook. I've got to put him in check again to h2. He moves again and still got a back up, and I can't take anything at the minute. So right now what my thinking is I'm probably going to have to move my bishop from e8 to f7 to just for a while to stop. Okay, but I'm decided to do that. I've taken the rook, and then I'm going to have to retreat. So it's got one less rook, which I'm hoping will help. I've literally got 2 pieces, still got 3 power pieces, and I'm going to have to get my rook out of the way because he's now under threat from the king. So move rook down to h5, but really why have I done that? Why have I done that? I probably should have moved my rook to h7. Right, I've just left him in nice easy free pawn, but able to put his king in check. So king's in check, king moves. Right, threaten that knight. Probably not worked out too bad up to this point at the minute, because I've at least been able to advance my pawn. And that knight's obviously going to come in, because he's going to come into, if that knight comes in, he'll obviously threaten my pawn on e6, which I'm then going to have to back up with my bishop on e8. Just trying my best to stop the inevitable madness that's going to take place. So what does he want to do? Does he want to move his knight? It doesn't even matter, because he can move his pawn, put me in check, then I'd have to kill the pawn with my bishop on e8. And then at that point he moves his knight, which actually would be an advantage, but he's moved his knight before, so his knight comes down to c5. So I've got to get that bishop up to no, instead I'll put the king there. I'll put the king there because the king can stay there and block. Oh, not such a great move in the end, because he's obviously going to put my king and bishop in check. I'll get the bishop up to d7, there you go. My king's in check. I'll have to get my king out of the way. I'm really holding off bombs and bullets coming towards me. Look how quick he moved that pawn down to f7. Wow, he moved that quick. Right, so move my, oh my gosh, so his rook comes across to h3. This is madness. I've got to, I need to get the king out. Get the king out. Okay, here comes the rook. That pawn, I can't stop that pawn flipping it. The knight's gonna have to go. Right, the knight's gone, which probably has helped me. King in check. I've at least got some places to run. Oh my gosh. Right, back in check again from the Queenies against the time. Oh, time's ran out. Oh, and I still win the game. Oh, I would 100% have lost that, and time's run out. That one, that has got to hurt. I completely, because I was concentrated so much on the game, I forgot about the time. Buzzing. Another win. Check another game out on the chess room. See you soon.